Good afternoon, everyone. We're glad to welcome you on our webinar, An Enterprise Guide to SOC Adoption. My name is Olena Babak, and I will be the host of our today's event. I would like to share some organizational points. Our webinar will last 2.5 hours with a 10 minutes break, and our speakers are the specialists of the InfoPulse company. Vadim Popov, Viktor Golub, Dmitro Sirish, and Konstantin Lasinsky. Please note that all the participants are in the mute mode. We welcome you to ask questions and please use our chat. Our speakers will be happy to answer the questions during their logical breaks or at the end of their speeches. This webinar is being recorded and we will definitely share both the recording and the presentation materials most likely during this week. If you have any additional questions after the event, please feel free to write us and we will definitely redirect questions to our speakers. And right now, I would like to tell you some words about InfoPulse. InfoPulse is a part of the leading Nordic digital services company Tietoevry, and it is the international vendor of IT services to SMEs and Fortune 100 companies across the globe. Founded in 1991, the company has a team of over 2,000 professionals, and it is represented in 7 countries across the globe. InfoPulse was recognized as a Microsoft Azure Expert Managed Service Provider MSP in 2021. MSP recognition marks an essential milestone in InfoPulse's 17 years collaboration with Microsoft. InfoPulse is a global outsourcing 100 company recognized by AAOP and was named as a finalist of the European Software Testing Award 2020 and 2021. In 2019, InfoPulse became the Microsoft Country Partner of the Year for Ukraine. And now, as you can see on this slide, I would like to tell you which services we provide. So, software engineering and testing, enterprise applications, managed services and solutions, cybersecurity, and business outsourcing. We work in such industries as telecom, finance, retail and e-commerce, energy, high-tech, manufacturing, and pharma. And now, I would like to give a word to our first speaker, Dmitro Sirish. Dmitry, please.
Thank you, Elena. Okay, great. Thank you once again. So, colleagues, today we are going to talk with you about SOC, Security Operations Center, and we will discuss such topics as what is SOC in general, when it's a proper time for having SOC in your organization, what should be done before creating SOC within your company, and lots of other questions related to SOC domain. What's SOC in general? So we can compare SOC with dashboard of your car. In such way, dashboard is intended to indicate what's happening within your car while you are driving or just standing along the road. You can just imagine what would happen in case you don't have such dashboard in your car and you're trying to drive. It's obvious that your trip will stop suddenly without your intention on that if you do not know what's happening with your car. So what's similar within SOC and within such dashboard? Each such dashboard is developed and in place in order to indicate most critical situations with your car. It's indicating most critical or most meaningful deviations from normal behavior, most critical information about how fast you drive, what is your torque and how much fuel do you have. The same we can say about SOC. So having SOC and having SOC with proper tools is something like this dashboard. So SOC is intended to identify and indicate for your team most critical situations within your company. triggering alerts on SIM tool. And you should have proper SOC team that is capable and that has a proper knowledge to react on triggered alerts and respond on detected incidents. What should you think before, or what might trigger your intention to implement SOC? The first and most important are assets. You should have critical assets that might affect your business, your operations, and for sure your income. In case you have such assets that is critical for your business, such assets which your business rely on, this is quite good indicator that it's proper time to think about SOC. Another important component is IT team and IT operations. In case you have more than one dedicated IT administrator, or your IT support is outsourced to third-party company, that's a good time and good point to think about SOC for your company. Why it's not matter in case you don't have such big team? Because if you have only one administrator, most probably your environment and your infrastructure is quite small. The only one responsible person should clearly understand what's going on within organization. And in such situation, we assume that most probably you might face with other risks, mostly operational risks that are not directly related to security. Another important point is having clear understanding of your goal about implementing SOC within your company. So you should clearly be able to answer the question why you need SOC for. Common drivers for having SOC might be to improve your overall security posture for your company, or maybe pass some compliance requirements. Often it happens that real goal is something between these two statements. However, you should clearly understand what's really important for your company and why you need SOC to be in place. And the last driver for having SOC is compliance, as I already told. Lots of regulations, lots of standards require security operations to be in place, critical security operations to be performed by experienced team on a process-based approach. So all these require operations to be quite mature, and having SOC should make it much easier for you to pass such compliance requirements and fulfill them fully. What is SOC in general? If we talk about SOC itself, it's abbreviation which consists of three words. It's S for security, list of security staff, security tools that are implemented and works together. O is about operations, so it's mostly about processes that are repeating from time to time, that are performed by fully equipped and fully highly educated team, which are capable to clearly understand what's going on and how should we react on indicators. And its center is not about physical location of SOC team, but it's mostly about who decides and who design proper processes which SOC team should follow, who define metrics and key performance indicators for SOC team, their SLAs, and who control everything this. So it's about center. If we talk more broadly, so people, which is important part of SOC, they often divide on several layers or tiers. It's level 1 analyst who usually perform initial triage procedures, incident monitoring and detection, triage as initial assessment of incident, identification of its real severity, and performing basic incident investigation activities. Layer 2 and 3 teams who are much more experienced and who are capable to process non-typical incidents within organization, or who are capable to provide guidance for layer 1 about how to handle specific incidents. Threat hunters and pen testing team. Pen testing team is not usually part of SOC itself, but pen testing team could provide very important inputs for the SOC team about how incident detection is configured. Is it good or well? Are we capable to detect everything that might be tested within pen test process? So it's segregation of two different approaches on information security, which multiplies effect of each other. Technologies often includes for sure and as a must, it's a SIEM solution that might be SOAR solution as well. Security often includes specific security devices like IDS, IPS, WAF solutions, and other security solutions like endpoint security, vulnerability management solutions, and etc. Very important part of SOC toolset is asset detection frameworks, asset detection and monitoring tools, because having a clear picture about your assets, which vulnerabilities do they have, and which risk they might bring to your organization, it's a core for SOC team, and it's very important. If we talk about processes, it's not only about internal SOC processes and procedures. However, it's about processes that are related to your business, so business-specific processes, because they might significantly affect SOC operations itself. It's education and knowledge sharing processes, because each SOC analyst should perform their analysis in the same way, and in ideal situations they should get the similar results while making analysis or investigation of the same issues. So what you need in order SOC to be enabled within your company, within your organization. The first and the most important is to build your team, because only experienced team understand the most correct and most proper path for your company in order to enable SOC, which system should be connected to SIEM solution and monitoring. So this is team, or this is tasks of proper SOC team. The next step is model your threats. Why is it important? Because only understanding your threats, you might clearly understand and clearly outline which components to be monitored in which way, and which use cases might be relevant for your company. There are no two similar companies in the world, because all of them operates in changing environment. They operate in different time zones, different markets, even if they operate with the same business area. So having such a model of threats relevant for your business is quite important, because next step is designing security controls. Usually, security controls might be technical or organizational. They might be related to implementation of some policies or solutions within your company. But if we talk about SOC or security controls in relation to SOC, it's all about use cases that should be prepared, that should be properly configured, and that should be monitored by SOC team. You might require some specific use cases to be in place and to be monitored. And all this happens on third step of SOC enabling workflow. And only after having proper team threat modeling and after designing security controls or use cases, you might start monitoring and response security incidents that are detected within your company, within your environment. So which benefits you might have after SOC implementation? You will have proactive threat detection. This means that you will be capable to detect incidents on early stage of when they happens within your company. As sooner you detect and respond on incidents, the less harm, the less losses you will have as a result of such incident. Later, colleague of mine will talk about SOC 24/7, and he will clearly outline why it's so important. Security awareness. So SOC is a very good source for knowledge for improvement of your security awareness program. Why? Because each company face with some specific incidents, and only making lessons of such from such incidents provides proper data and proper knowledge about how to educate your colleagues, your teams to properly react on incidents, or even indicators how to identify them on level of users or managers. Infrastructure visibility, another important benefit. While having SOC within your company, it should not remain any not identified assets within your company. So often such assets might bring quite a lot of risk to your company, staying not updated, having lots of vulnerabilities. It is very often relevant for for big companies like telecom providers, like bank organizations, financial organization, because often it happens that some asset might remain within network, might keep working, but no one understands what is such system for, and who is responsible for it. So having SOC in place should highlight all communications within your company, all assets, and all such assets should be clearly identified and clearly visible, at least their behavior and security status. And another point is data compliance. It is often it's required to have SOC in place, and having such a team within your company will allow you to get compliance for common standards or regulations in easy way. So next speaker is Victor Golub, who will tell you about what should be done before having SOC within your company. So Victor, please.
Thank you, Dmitro. Let me switch to my slides. Just a moment, I will share my screen. Hope it will be just a moment. So I hope you can see my screen.
Yes,
Please
we
confirm.
can.
Okay, very good. So good afternoon, everyone. Nice to have you here together with us on a SOC readiness session. So today, my name is Victor Golub. I'm a cybersecurity architect working for Infopulse. Before Infopulse, I was working for a company with a very well-known Microsoft for 7 years. At Infopulse, I'm working for 4 years already. So I'm telling you my background because it's important to understand that I'm doing security projects and I was doing infrastructure projects. So that gives me unique opportunity to see the same, let's say, the same tasks and the same problems from different point of views, from the infrastructure engineering perspective and from the security engineering perspective. Okay, if you would like to contact me directly, you can find me via LinkedIn. You can see this web address on a slide. And yeah, so let's start. What we are going to talk today about is, let me switch the slide. So what exactly should be done before you go for a security operations center or SOC? So first of all, you need to identify gaps and build a cybersecurity roadmap. What does it mean? So in order to understand what threats you would like to protect from, you first need to draft such threats, right? So first of all, you need to clearly understand what are the most common threats regarding your, let's say, organization, and which of them are applicable for your, let's say, infrastructure or your assets, right? So, and by doing that, you are identifying gaps in cybersecurity. So with this, you also would like to build a cybersecurity roadmap, a cybersecurity, let's say, action plan for your organization to be able to protect from those identified gaps or those identified cybersecurity vectors of attacks. We will call them vectors of attacks. So you need to draft them, you need to define them in order to build a strong cybersecurity protection. Okay, what else? So nowadays, zero trust becomes company modern perimeter. So no more things like firewalls can save you from cybersecurity threats, because your devices, your data, your assets are no longer working constantly 24/7 under your network company perimeter as it used to be like for a long time. So company modern security perimeter, you may reference to it as an identity, and identity is something that is more way important than old school, let's name it such network company perimeter. You would also like to build in a zero trust in your company perimeter, modern perimeter, because it's something that is highly recommended by too many vendors, cybersecurity vendors who are working in cybersecurity field areas, right? And it's actually gives you a lot of advantage over cyber criminals. So you don't need to ignore that for sure. Talking about identities. So basics, you have to have centralized identities. That's for sure. Apart from that, it would be beneficial to have role-based access control model, or RBAC, which is something that will give you this is not a tool, but however, there are tools for building that and for managing that. But let's refer that more like a process, because it is kind of a process when you list in all your systems which you need to have access to, and all your, let's say, user titles or staff titles, right? Which you need to grant access to, which needs to have access to your tools, which you listed before, and which access exactly they need to have, like read only, contribute, maybe some kind of admin access, whatever you decide. There are metrics, access metrics for such purpose. So you need to decide, but I mean, that's up to you. That's up to all. I mean, each and every organization to decide by their own. There are some recommendations for that, but first of all, you need to have a process in place, and processes is very important. Even more important than the tools itself. Okay, what else? Let's speak about basic things. Let's speak about network segmentation. I believe you remember such ransomware attack, which was with a name NotPetya, if I'm not mistaken, right? That's cyber attack spread over across organization networks because of lack or improper network segmentation. So whenever you have a proper network segmentation, you can limit a blast radius, so-called blast radius or a damage to a segment network, right? So if, for example, we will take a look on a cyber attack, ransomware cyber attack, which is NotPetya, for example, systems with ME-DOC were targeted with this attack, but due to most of enterprises were not segmented properly, and that's why this attack spreads all over across corporate network and reach all devices. So if the proper network segmentation was in place, only systems with within this network segment was impacted, right? Okay, what else? So proactive security measures. First of all, we need to understand that there are reactive and proactive security measures that could be in place, right? So let's say reactive security measures is when something is already happened and you are trying to to understand what's happening or what's happened already, and you are trying to maybe to reduce consequences or to roll back or to at least identify a blast radius, attack vectors. It's important when you investigate, when you try to investigate or investigating what's happening, right? But in order to let's say in order to prevent bad things from happening, for example, prevent cyber attacks from happening at first place, you will need some kind of proactive security measures. Let's take a closer look on that. So first of all, I would like to recommend you to take control of shadow IT. Shadow IT is something that is not monitored by a central IT department of your company, or it's not recommended to use by a central IT department of your company, but may be still used by your users. An example of such things or services or applications, whatever, might be, for example, Dropbox or Google Drive, like for file exchange. Also could be a different kind of SaaS applications, which is not approved for work centrally. Sorry. Also, such examples might be different social networks, different even notes-taking application can be shadow IT, because your staff could take a notes inside, for example, some maybe some tablets with handwriting tools, right? Because it's easy to do that, but they might be stored somewhere on some, on some server, which is actually SaaS approach nowadays, right? And it couldn't be controlled by IT, and therefore your company corporate policies won't be applied to such devices, such storage, whatever, right? So shadow IT, you should take it under control. And the most, I believe, yeah, we will talk about that on a later on the next slide. So what else you can do to proactively, to proactively prevent actually bad things from happening? So the most common thing I would think about, apart from shadow IT control, is a patch or vulnerability management. Yeah, that's also a process on a first place and a tool on a second. Yeah, and you would like to, for example, patch some vulnerabilities in order such vulnerability won't be even compromised, or sorry, used by cyber criminals to compromise your targeted system, right? So you are preventing, cyber attack at the first place from happening, right? So whenever you have your vulnerability management process is in place, you can be sure that you are minimized your attack vectors. You're covering your attack vectors with this simple but very effective process and tools. Again, when we are talking about simple but very effective measures, it's nowadays it's called device or application management. So there are many tools for that. You can refer to it as MDM or MOM, right? Mobile device management or mobile application management. So each way is whenever you are choosing, or you can actually combine those techniques. But you need to manage devices, or you need to manage at least applications to which they have to which have access to your corporate assets, to your corporate data, right? Even if you are accessing your applications, sorry, your data from your personal mobile phone, that's also a way of stealing information, or stealing, distributing, compromising, whatever you wish, right? So everyone nowadays have access to corporate, let's say, mailbox via their personal device, personal phone, as well as to some document exchange. Let's name it like a SharePoint, maybe Teams, maybe it's some other corporate environment, a document flow exchange. Never mind. But as far as you do not control device or applications, when you are sandboxing applications and apply policies only to some applications, you have like a attack vector uncovered, right? So it's something that is really important to cover, and so on and so forth. So there are many actually proactive security measures that could be taken at the first place to prevent any security damage, any information security incidents from happening at first place, right? So I would like also to share with you this comprehensive, or let's say comprehensive or unified approach on as an example based on Microsoft Cyber Reference Architecture. Why? Because it is very important to understand and to see all the possible attack vectors, and to understand what possible preventive security measures could be taken in place when you are working on a cybersecurity posture of your company, right? So let's take a quick look on this cybersecurity reference architecture. I will choose my laser point here. I hope you can see it. So first of all, we were talking about devices. So there are managed devices and there are unmanaged devices. And I mean, let's refer to that as endpoints and devices, right? So you better take control under devices, but if you can't, if that's a personal device of your users and you are not able to take devices under control, at least take control over applications that have access to your data. So hybrid data centers, which can be on-prem in your local facilities or in cloud or both, like a hybrid solution. There are many different proactive approaches that needs to be in place with or without SOC, security operation, SOC, right? A security operation center in place. So whenever you are having SOC in place or not, you would better have like DDoS protection for some, your important systems, which should be accessible 24/7, and so on and so forth. Some firewalls, whatever you may use, and it's very important to have such proactive security measures in place. Also, we were talking about shadow IT and shadow services, and this, I mean, those are here as a software as a service. Basically, nowadays, like most company employees using like different SaaS applications, and it's very important to understand what is going through those applications, right? And for those purpose, we can use cloud application security broker, right, which can actually identify our shadow IT, shadow services, and range them based on a security score, right? And even proactively prohibit users from, sharing sensitive information with such, unsecured SaaS applications. By the way, talking about sensitive information. So your information is also should be classified, labeled, and protected by some encryption method. That's also very important to understand. I will now go through all those technologies. That's just to understand, that's just to highlight you how many attack vectors you may have in your organization and how, what security measures you can, proactive security measures you can, utilize to protect. And very important, last but not least, as many of us used to say, but I would even, highlight this as a first priority in our cloud first, mobile first world. Nowadays, it's an identities. If you are not protecting identities, you are not protecting your company at all, because whoever compromised identity, especially with access to some sensitive data, it's even not necessary to have like privileged identity. It's necessary to have like some identity with access to some sensitive data, which is, I mean, at the moment could be found in any company, right? I mean, sensitive data. So whenever you have compromised such identity, you have access to such data. Sensitive data, and that's an issue, and you need to have protection proactive measures for identities in the first place. And of course security operations center or SOC, that's something you need to you better have in place, but better to have like something proactive even inside SOC, right? Not only reactive measures. So let's talk about some challenges that might be in place inside identities, for example, and take proactive measures that we could, enforce to protect them. So most common attack for identities nowadays is phishing emails, right? Phishing emails and password spray attacks are most common and most widely used by cyber criminals to compromise or to hack identity. So, and everyone nowadays has a challenge of protecting identity from those, let's say, ways of compromising. So what actually you can use? You can use Azure Active Directory, just an example, like a single united identities solution with MFA. And yeah, so but just by enrolling all your user accounts to MFA, you are reducing risk of compromising identities. I mean, by like too many percent to ignore such protective measures. Also, probably you would like to utilize some, maybe user behavior analytics and some tools that allows you to identify leaked credential, right? Also, it's very underestimating to do not use Windows Hello on the applicable devices. Why? Very easy explanation. That's because when you set up in Windows Hello for Business or Microsoft Hello for Business, I mean, Microsoft's constantly changing such names for their technologies, but whenever you set up Windows Hello on an endpoint, you are protecting your endpoint with a second factor authentication. Because, for example, I am also always asking about why, for example, why simple PIN code on a Windows Hello protected devices are much more secure than an complex domain password. You may think that I'm crazy about that, but no, that's, I mean, whenever I can even give you, I can even tell you my PIN code, but I'm taking my device after a meeting together, I mean, with me, right? And you won't be able to use those information, I mean, this PIN code, anywhere else except from my device. So that's why, I mean, two factors, something you know and something you own, right? So that's very important to not underestimate such technology. If, I mean, only for applicable devices, but still. Also, very important aspect is passwordless authentication. I mean, one of the tools that could utilize passwordless is obviously Hello for Business, also multi-factor authentication. But I mean, the trend is that security vendors, I mean, vendors that are working on cybersecurity areas, they are eliminating passwords. I mean, totally, like because that's the easiest way to compromise user identities nowadays. So go passwordless, go zero trust. It will be, you can't underestimate how this could, secure your user identities. And another underestimated feature, also, if you are talking about, for example, Microsoft security, proactive security measures, is a conditional access. By combining, for example, conditional access policies with some other, let's say, measures, you can configure it for limiting your access whenever you are trying to access sensitive information, sensitive data, or, for example, data inside company perimeter or data inside some specified applications, even, right? From from, for example, non-secure device, or maybe from non-secure location, or maybe with detected impossible travel, or whatever. I mean, there are many conditions that conditional access policies may and should be applied in your organization. It's all individually designed, typically, right? And it could protect your, your users from different, cyber threats dramatically. Okay, what else? Lateral traversal. Sorry for my spelling. Traversal attacks using credential theft is also very, commonly used and commonly seen technique. So such mitigation steps as PAWs, which stands for Privileged Access Workstations, should be also in place for if you would like to make your environment as secure as possible, because that will be hardened workstation which you are using specifically for making changes to your environment, to your IT infrastructure or whatever. Yeah. So you are not using any additional third party or any additional, even additional first party services which could be compromised. You are limiting this workstation only to the operations of configure only for, some administrative settings or whatever. Also, there is a Microsoft Identity Management as a privileged identity management solution, but you can use whatever privileged identity management solution you would like to use. Yeah, so yeah, I believe that's it. Also, please utilize some tools that allows you to manage third-party identity services, which might be easily integrated to your corporate identity infrastructure through, for example, B2B or B2C, business to business or business to customer solutions. Okay, Security Operations Center. So challenges of such let's say let's speak through this very quickly. So high event volume, that's definitely what we are seeing in our customers environment. So security incidents and security alerts are overwhelmed. Security analytics are overwhelmed by security incidents, and most of such security incidents and security alerts even do not investigated by users, by analysts ever, let's say, right? And it could be an issue for an organization, because cyber attacks could be unseen for a long time. And yeah, so as my colleague Dmitro mentioned before, you need to have like a very mature security analytics team and security, threat hunters as well as others, but you need to have as well correct tools in place in order for them to be effective. And you may see such many of such tools on a screen. Yeah, as I mentioned before, clients, you need to manage, especially in a time of bot devices, right? BYOD, so bring your own devices. Many users nowadays using their own laptops, their own tablets or mobile phones. You need to take care of that, because it's actually a way to compromise your information, to compromise your assets, to steal your assets, right? So you need to identify such devices and protect them. And probably you may have in place some EDR solution which is dramatically increase security posture and dramatically increase visibility of what's going on managed and unmanaged devices, right? Because EDR can work also on unmanaged devices. Okay. Hybrid cloud infrastructure, of course, need to have special tools in place. Also, I mean, the most effective tools which you may have, which you may use for your hybrid infrastructure is actually cross-platform and cross-cloud, because nowadays many organizations utilizing not a single cloud and not a single infrastructure, not a single server, not a single data center, right? So ideally your, let's say, your tools should be cross-platform and cross-cloud, because no one wants to manage too many tools, because we all have, limited time, and we all have limited capacity of managing these tools, because we need to actually have something that is work for us regardless of a vendor or of whatever, right? So, and yeah, for platform as a service, we need to have at least basic set of security features. And I would like also to recommend you for using some kind of security security posture or security scoring tools that each vendor may have in their portfolio. For Microsoft solutions, it calls security scores. So security score allows you to actually analyze your security posture over your infrastructure or your SaaS applications or your identities, and actually provide you insight of what should be done from the vendor standpoint of view to make your infrastructure or identities or whatever SaaS application you may use more secure and more compliant against different standards, right? Okay, SaaS. I've mentioned already CASB, right? Cloud Application Security Broker. That's something that is make your visibility and inventory process very easy. And also with such tools, you can also score your SaaS applications against different metrics and against different standards, right? And you can also utilize here as well a secure score available for from Microsoft or any other tools that are available from other vendors. Sorry. Yeah. So whenever you have like CASB in place, you are safe and secure from the standpoints of shadow IT and shadow services. And SaaS is a very often shadow IT. That's which is not managed by whatever tool you may have in place. I mean, IT, central IT, let's say. Yeah, let's move further. Information protection. So wherever your information is located, you need to identify such places. You need to have tools for inventory, for ideally for automatic inventory. You need to have not only information security policy in place, but you need to have a possibility to apply it to your information, meaning, let's say, labels, right? Labels that should be applied to data in order to discover, to classify and protect your information. And another proactive security measure will be to apply something called Azure Information Protection, which actually allows you not only to encrypt data you are storing or exchanging with someone, but also to revoke access rights even when the file is already in the recipient's inbox, right? So how it works? It actually verifies each time a user opens a document. This tool verifies if a user has access right to document and which access rights it has, like reading, contributing, editing, full access, or whatever, right? So if you are revoking access, user won't have access anymore to a file, and even if a file itself on an end user machine, yeah, so the user won't be able to open it. So let's wrap up. Let's summarize what should be done in first place. Utilize secure score for cleaning up risks. That's something very often underestimated and needs to be considered before, while building security strategy roadmap or whatever. Passwordless or MFA, at least for administrative or privileged identities. That's without a comment, and that's a first priority, I would say. And enterprise segmentation and zero trust preparation is something that will help you to reduce a damage radius blast for your enterprise, right? So that's something that's a basic steps, but very often, as we saw during recent cyber attacks, it's not in place, it's not enforced, and or enforced in the wrong way. So maybe you would like to have, for example, some audit or at least some basic assessment to understand whether you are doing zero trust preparation in the right way or segmentation in the right way, or you are utilizing secure score recommendations in the right way, or whatever techniques you may utilize. So it's always very important, very good idea to have a second view on your situation because of the obvious reasons, right? Okay, so proactive threat protection for your infrastructure, your devices, your assets, whatever you can have in place, please utilize it. Please, sign up for some service for EDR. You will improve your, security posture a lot by just enabling proactive threat protection for your infrastructure or your assets, your devices. We also spoke about manage your devices and applications. So whenever you can, please manage your devices. And manage devices, it's something that no one wants really, right? And if you can't manage your devices, please manage your applications at least. And the last 5 steps is about role access model. Choosing your firewall strategy, you need to select it wisely because you want to have like your service availability according to your business needs, right, etc. Also, there are measures like web application firewalls, which is dramatically also increase security in web applications, as well as DDoS, distributed denial of service attacks. And I specifically placed in on a last 10th place, but please, I'm really encourage you to consider retiring legacy or classic technology, classic applications, because those applications which are still using Java or some ActiveX, active content in a browser, that is really great nowadays, because that has a lot of security, a lot of attack vectors open for your organization, and you are exposure your organization against cybersecurity attacks. So please disable all legacy authentication methods. Please eliminate passwords. Please retire classic and legacy technologies. That's basic steps that should be implemented, that should be in place. And if you have, a need for consulting here, or you need an advice or assessment, please get back to us, because we are the company of an experts who are specialized on the mentioned technologies and mentioned approaches. Thank you very much for your attention, and I am giving a word back to my colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor. Thanks for a great presentation. Now we move on. To SOC 24/7. Who needs it and why? First of all, corporations and companies become more global. Their business become more global. They're located in multiple time zones around the world. Also, as their clients. Clients are also not tied to particular time. We all work remotely now and can communicate with companies, can purchase their services and so on around the clock. And of course, the threats. Threats are also not tied to particular time. They are around the clock, and your company shouldn't expect that threat actors would act in some time when your SOC team is on the work. So let's look at a typical timeline. So the initial access. First of all, attackers will try to access to your company through the most weak point. It's called initial access. Your security systems, of course, will detect it, but a lot of alerts will go to your SOC, but no one can see it because it's the night time. Next, the attackers will try to move inside your company, will try to look for interesting assets, for not secured servers. And this activity will also be detected by some systems like IPS or anomaly detection systems. And alerts will go to your SOC, but also no one can see because it's also nighttime. And the impact. Attackers will find some valuable information in your company, or will find not secured database, not secured server, or will start encryption campaign called ransomware. And of course, this activity also will be detected, but no action can be done because reaction in these situations is manual, mostly manual. In the morning, SOC team will arrive at their places, open their consoles, and see a lot of alerts from the night and start to investigate this. Soon they will understand what's happened, how attackers reached to their critical assets, what was done, what was the impact, and close those vectors. So let's think about how to prevent this. What we can do to stop attackers in more earlier points. First of all, you need technology, a reliable technology that works 24/7. It contains a CM platform. So your CM must work 24/7. It should avoid some downtime. It should avoid maintenance windows, like updating for 8 hours or something. Also, CM connectors. Under this term, I mean delivering data to your CM solution, also 24/7 and without any stops. and without huge delays. CM accessibility. Under this term, I mean that your staff can reach your CM at any time. Also, technology covers any tools that SOC uses in their daily work. Next is level 1 monitoring. Security staff must be accessible around the clock. There must be at their workplace. They have to reach CM platform. They must have strict playbooks. They must have strict process to quickly reach to alerts, to incidents, and move them to level 2 and level 3 teams who can remediate this malicious activity. Also, level 1 monitoring team must be available to escalate incidents to these more specialized teams, also 24/7. So any critical incident can be handled also 24/7. Now let's look at the same timeline, but with the ability of 24/7 SOC. We also have initial access. Attackers breached your server, breached your perimeter, and gained access to the first server. Your information security systems detected this activity, but the next step is SOC took the action. They figured out this activity and started the investigation. Next, they have a pretty simple playbook to just block the connection with attackers or just block the attacked server. So the attack stopped at this point. Next, they prepare the report, and in the morning, where all other security staff and IT staff arrived to their workplaces, they just receive a report that breach happened at the night, but nothing critical happened. So what are the benefits of this approach? The first benefit is the lack of critical step. Under the step, I mean the impact. The impact was remediated, and this is the main SOC's responsibility. So they must prevent the impact to corporate infrastructure. The second benefit is a shortage between detection and remediation. So the attackers have less time to gain access to another servers, to find critical information, to plan their further attacks, and so on. And of course, no morning spikes. Under the spikes, I mean when you have 8 to 5 SOC working hours, your team firstly have to handle all the incidents from the night, and then they can take on other incidents that happening in the day. But when you have 24/7, everything is handled in a short time, and everything is expected. So you always can expect what is the load of your team. Now I would like to ask my colleague Dmitry to tell us about how 24/7 SOC built in InfoPulse.
Thank you, Konstantin, for great presentation. I'm sorry. Yeah, let's start. So SOC 24/7 in InfoPulse. First, I would like to tell you that we have SOC 24/7 in InfoPulse. We provide such services to our customers, and here you can see on slide currently you can see which most common process or services are provided within such team. We currently have a team of SOC L1 analysts who work 24/7, and they are continuously monitor and detect incidents. They perform basic incident investigation steps, triage procedures, reconnaissance according to predefined playbooks. However, in case layer one is not sure with results they received upon analysis of incident, they might require to escalate incident on layer 2. And in this situation, we have L2 team available, team analyst available on call for such cases. So we are capable to support our L1 within incidents on 24/7 basis. This means that we are capable to process starting the most simple and up to complicated incidents with our SOC team 24/7. In order to fulfill SLAs, our L2 team continuously continuously improve playbooks for our L1 team, and this allows us to handle most incidents on layer 1 level. Another important approach that we use is having automation. For well-known incidents, for those incidents, we are sure how to process them, and it is possible to automate response on such incidents. We develop automation response automation procedures, response automation logic. We implement it within our SIEM solution or SOAR solution, and it's in place to support our SOC team within incident processing. This allows us to react and respond on incidents as fast as possible, as computing engines allow us to do. And that's the reason why lots of incidents are we are capable to process in automatic way, and they will have quite good SLAs for our customers. However, REST incidents are processed manually, and we can do that for our customers for sure. Another important component of our SOC team that allows us to stay connected to our customers is our flexible communication means. So usually we use such mean as Teams. We use email for notification about incidents, and we are capable to use phone line to call our customers in case of emergency. However, we are flexible, as I told before, and we are capable to support our customers using a broad set of communications means like Slack, like Skype, like other messengers that's doable and that's possible for us. About tracking of incidents, about visibility on them, internal visibility, I mean, within our SOC team, we use integration to ticketing system. So each incident triggered by SIEM solution, it triggers a related ticket in our ticketing system. It's Cloud Jira. And that allows us not to miss any incidents. That allows us to control SLAs on tickets and escalate them in case we assume that ticket is about breaching SLAs or so. The last option that we provide to our customers is dashboard. It's built on top of Power BI, and it allows you to control. It allows our customers to control current security posture, situation with current and previous incidents, easily having this dashboard in place. Dashboard is developed in the way that allows our customer to see previous periods of time, like previous weeks or even months, just in order to compare situation during previous periods of time and see trends, if number of incidents decreasing or increasing, which incidents start triggering the last time, and how situation looks in comparison to previous weeks, for example. So all this allows us to provide 24/7 service and visibility on security incidents. While talking about incidents themselves and what we can see, so here you can see some bullets about our visibility on customers. So we see that up to from 30 and up to 50% of incidents are triggered out of business time. This is relevant for global companies, but currently this is relevant also for not global companies that works on specific time. However, COVID made some impact on this picture. Lots of people work from home, work from mobile, work in different time zones, and this impacted business time in the way it's extended quite significant. Someone can start working on their task on early morning. Someone is willing to work on incidents in late evening, and that's why currently there is no such strict meaning as business hours. They are flexible, and all this leads to having incidents not in business time only. And another important section in here is criminals. So Konstantin already told, and that's visible within our service, that each planned attack in advance. So each criminals, they are attempting to run their actions, to run their activities in the time when there is less probability they to be detected by security team of company, of organization, which should be impacted by such attack. So that's why late time, early morning time is often visible for such type of attacks. I believe I'm done. We will have short pause right now. I believe it will for about 10 minutes. After that, Vadim Popov will tell you about some example of how technical part of SOC might be integrated to your organization.
Okay, thank you, Dmitry. Maybe I will share screen with timer. Okay. Good evening, colleagues. Let me start. Do you see my screen? Okay. I hope you get some rest, and I will start. My name is Vadim Popov. I work as an enterprise cloud architect position for InfoPulse company. I work with different Microsoft technologies more than 20 years, and I work with on-premise technologies, I work with cloud technologies, and currently I build and design and support implementation of big hybrid infrastructures. And also I work as a security architect for hybrid cloud technologies. Today I will speak about example security operations center and as the tools for build SOC, we use one of interesting solution from Microsoft, Azure Sentinel solution. This solution, newly solution, this solution provides about maybe have provided about 2 years, and this is interesting product, and I will speak about SOC building, and I will demonstrate how use Sentinel example as a day of life of SOC analyst specialist. Let me start. Very important picture presents how Microsoft presents Microsoft vision as a SOC. Very important today in current infrastructure, we work as hybrid infrastructures, and we have a lot of activity and security logs. SS network security logs, infrastructure and application log, path log, IoT devices log, identity and access management, endpoint and mobile devices, applications, informational and data. And Microsoft Vision use this log with XDR system. As my colleagues speak about processes and necessary tools, necessary procedures for build SOC, Microsoft Vision provides tools for manage, analyze, and automatically react for well-known attacks and threats. And if we have seen well-known attacks and automatically solve these issues, we report them. Next level, if we have well-known attacks and can't have automatically solution, we can analyze as a tier 1, and after tier 1 or solve problem or send to tier 2 level for big analysis. And it's this Microsoft conception, XDR, extended detection and response, can react for well-known issues and can use SOAR automation technologies for mitigate risk. For example, run command or run playbook for mitigate this threat. Also, we can receive logs from a lot of systems to CM system, security information and event management system, and receive analytics, receive correlation rules. And also, we can analyze problems with user entity behavior analytics. We receive security data link for quick analyze, correlate, and react for our threat. And as I speak about 3 tiers, first tier, automatical a lot of tools, for example, Microsoft 365 Defender and Azure Defender, work with well-known attacks and can automatically investigation and remediation this attack. And of course, reporting to CM system. And our SOC operators can analyze and receive this data. First level, tier 1, this level name rapid remediation or escalation. In this level, we receive information from the XDR system and can quicker analyze results and quicker solve this incident. Tier 1, if we can't solve incident in tier 1, work Microsoft present tier 2. This level advanced analysis and remediation, and for highly complexity incident, we can work with multi-stage incident, we can work multi-stage escalation, we can analyze critical business system, and after that, we can choose how remediate this issue. And last level, tier 3, this is level for proactive hacking, advanced inferences, and detection tool. This level, CM system for SOC must be provide tools for artificial intelligence, for quicker tuning, for access for threat hunting databases. And in this system as my Azure Sentinel, we can work as all three levels. Shortly review how build SOC. Very important, we must have security operations center strategy. If we have security operations strategy and vision, how this center work, what challenge must be do this this department, we can design SOC solution, we can create procedure, processes and training. My colleagues spoke about this. And if we have security operations strategy and processes and procedures, we can try to choose technical SOC solution. In my example, we choose Azure Sentinel solution. And after we choose solution, we can deploy this solution. Maybe I don't speak with how implement Azure Sentinel solution. Very important, if we install and enable Azure Sentinel, next step, we must choose data connectors. We must enable ways for receive logs. After you receive logs, we receive a lot of analytics rules for well-known attack and incident, and this information can support to start work this solution. But next step, very important. Each company has important cases, and we can create cases priority and start implement case process in Azure Sentinel step by step. This is way support quicker start winner strategy and quicker support and secure your infrastructure. What is Azure Sentinel? Azure Sentinel, this solution can provide possibility as CM and SOAR system, and this is fully cloud solution. Very important, we can use only cloud solution for receive our SOC. Because it's a cloud solution, Sentinel can scale for big logs, for many logs, ways and many data connectors, and I will speak later about that. And also, Sentinel can provide machine learning and automation GPT notebook for difficult scenario if we want analyze a lot of log and receive some visualization. Azure Sentinel, this is end-to-end solution for security operations, and first of all, this solution can connect logs data sources. Different data sources from build connector, as for example, Office 365 connector, or connector with network security appliances, or we can create custom connector whose work with appliance API. And if we receive logs, we can work with visibility. I demonstrate some slides how is vision, because we have a workbook for quick analyze and receive visualization for SOC operator, and for example, difficult Power BI reports. Next, detect. The system can use analytics rules and understand and create incident and alert depend of these rules. If we receive incident, we can work with hunting for detect our issues or incident, and work with incident, investigate incident, transfer for responsibility person, close incident, and receive all necessary statistics and respond. Sentinel provide possibility named playbooks for automation task, and we can choose automatic reaction after our analytics rule create incident, or we can investigate, and after we receive, after we found solution, we can start automation playbooks. Sentinel can receive data from a lot of ways. For example, we can collect the logs and security logs from Microsoft services, as Microsoft Defender, as Microsoft 365, Exchange, Teams, SharePoint, and another. Also, we can receive logs from public clouds. Also, we can receive log from security solution and appliance. After we receive logs, we can use data ingestion process. We receive data repository, and this is security data lake. We can save these logs, we can work with this log, and we can make queues as a language, KQL language, custom query language, for quicker receive and work with a lot of data. Also, we can integrate system with intelligence system as an IP reputation system or geolocation system, and we can use advanced analytics as machine learning or Jupyter notebook and automation orchestration response playbooks. How we receive security log to Sentinel? First, we can use Microsoft provided connectors. We can use collectors. Sentinel can receive logs from Linux and Microsoft systems, SSF logs, WEF log, sys log with security log collectors. Also, Sentinel can integrate with Taxi and MS Graph threat indicators, and also we can create a custom log collector via API. After we receive log data, we can use and create also, of course, self dashboards, and this dashboard present all necessary visualization graphic information for quicker understanding what we are receiving. Next, because Sentinel, this is system for SCM and the system for SOC, each connector provides us a lot of analytics rules for well-known attacks, and we can create a self-analytics rule. Analytics rule can correlate events and react for our activity. And for example, if we found a problem and correlate this problem, and this is an incident, analytics rule generate alert, and alert created incident. We can work with incident manually, or we can manage this incident automatically, triggers automated playbooks. Also, Sentinel provide interface for hunting, and we can use KQL queries for advanced hunting and investigation. During hunting and investigation an incident, we can create bookmarks and live stream for understand lifetime when we receive next event, this such type. And this is very good possibility, because if we have seen event data, and we can understand how next step this attack, we can use bookmark and live stream Sentinel. If we want use advanced hunting, we can create Python notebooks and use Python or SQL or KQL or R script notebook for advanced hunting and visualization. This is machine learning system who integrates with Azure Sentinel. Also, we can work with investigation and collect alerts, event, bookmark. We can use comment. We can comment at incident, and we have good interface for work with more and more incident. Very interesting. We have possibility visualize entire attack, and we receive relationship with alert, bookmark, and identities, and can exploration this information for understand, for example, how incident and watch count or uses the incident trying to work, and another activities. Also for some system, for example, Palo Alto, we can receive evidence from incident as a screenshot, and for example, this incident as a trigger URL detonation, and we can enrich this alert and receive screenshot. This is a good possibility. For incident, for automate reaction, we use playbook. Playbook in Sentinel. This is Azure Logic Apps application, and in Logic App application we can create logic for automate incident. For example, in this slide, if we receive incident from Azure Security Center, we send the ticket to, for example, ServiceNow ticket system, register this ticket, post message to SOC channel, and send approval email. If responsible person approve solution, if true, for example, we start activity block using Azure Active Directory and block user's IP in Palo Alto firewall. If no, we close incident and service now. We can create logic for playbook and work with our events data. Example playbooks, for example, enrichment and investigation, geolocation, trigger investigation, send validation email to user, incident management, open a ticket, for example, Jira or ServiceNow, and remediation, block IP address, isolate machine, and we can create self-playbooks. On this slide, I will demonstrate 1 day of SOC engineer or SOC operator. Currently, we create rules for investigate incident. After that, we must understand we receive incident and we can work with this incident, investigate, choose response activity, and handle false positive. If we work with Sentinel, SOC analyst can use analytics through console, and in this console, we can possibility create security rules. We can create correlation security rules. I'm sorry, we can create correlation security rules. We can create Microsoft recommended security rules for defender and threat protection alerts. And in this interface, we have button create rule, and for example, this slide present if we want to create analytic rule for Windows log cleared activities. First of all, we choose queues. Sorry, I lost connection. We can choose KQL queues, and for example, these queues, security event, where event has number, and after we receive, we create queues for necessary event, we can set threshold and alert count. If we if our rules support regulation, we can create incident with, for example, send email to SOC operator, and we can choose automatic response, for example, open a SNOW ticket. After we create analytics rule, and rules found alerts, rules generate incident. In incident blade, we can work with incident. First of all, we can choose incident status, for example, new, in progress, or closed. Also, we can assign this incident to necessary SOC Operation Center specialist, and also we can understand what is this incident. We have button view full detail, and we can analyze this incident. For example, incident is activity from infrequent country, and we can understand from this IP address and this user work with infrequent country. And after that, we can, for example, check what is this address. We can use playbook, get IP reputation playbook, for example, and this playbook call to VirusTotal, check IP address, and if this address include to IP reputation, we send data and comment to incident. This is bad IP. If not, we comment incident, this is not bad IP, for example, and after playbook work, we receive, for example, this IP address didn't found in bad IP addresses. After that, we can analyze this incident relationship graph, and we understand what the system, what IP address, and from people work with this activity. Next topic, we understand these people signed, and we can use visualization workbook to understand what these people doing. We can see a lot of failure assigning activity, and after investigate, we can understand map where from user worked, and we found event. These people work with work from YAML in not approved country. We can bookmark this incident, and after we can bookmark, we can wait next possible event for this activity. And for example, we receive this activity and understand these people work from another countries, and we must block this Azure ID user, and we can start block Azure ID user for the activity. Very interesting. For example, a lot of company said we can create list of approved location because users work remotely, and we want secure location workplace, and we can create, for example, CSV file with necessary information, and for example, we can create analytics rule. We will read this file, we understand physical user location and check it. If user try connected from unapproved location, this rule can block access. If we have questions, we can write to chat. I don't see questions. Maybe I can send presenter rights to next speaker. Thank you for attention, colleagues. I think I think if we want to create security operations center, we try POC as Azure Sentinel because this is very interesting solution, and this solution can provide maybe not only full SOC, maybe extend on-premise SOC possibility, because Microsoft Azure Sentinel good solution for our extend for cloud scenarios and cases.
Thank you, Vadim, for a great presentation. I hope our listeners now see how we build SOC, how we deploy it for our customers. Could you give me a presenter, please?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Okay, now let's talk about enhancing your SOC. The starting point is when you already have a SOC, when Everything is on the place, and now it's time for improvements, for building a new processes, and so on. The first question I would like to highlight is testing. Everything has to be tested, all analytical rules, all detection rules, all detection systems, and so on. Why is it important? Because you always know what's working and what's not, and why it is not working. And of course, you always can test your current detections with new attacks. If your current detections are capable to detect new threats, new vectors, and so on. How these tests should be conducted? The first is creating a test. It can be fully manual, or it can be a script that you manually run, or it can be a time-scheduled script. It's up to you. Then the script makes some malicious activity or just simulates it, and logs are generated. So you test if these logs are generated, if your system is correctly configured, if everything is fine with deploying policies. Next, you of course test if logs are delivered to the right place. It can be a web server or a syslog centralized server. So the central point where you aggregate your logs. Next, you test whether your logs are correctly processed by your CM system. If your analytical or correlation rules are just fine. And then at the end, you just review if this process was correct, where are the gaps, and what should be improved. These tests are hard the first time, but then when it's fully automated, you just review the results and tell your team where to improve, where are the problems, and so on. Okay, the next is pen test. It's a major part of organization's security. All new products that delivered to market are always pen tested. So the SOC can use pen tests for improving itself. How can you use pen test for improving SOC? The first one is don't whitelist them. So your team, when you detect some pen test activity, don't just ignore it and investigate it as a regular threat actors activity or malicious activity, and so on. You will receive a few benefits from this. First is team training. Your team will see how real attacks are outlined in your CM solution. Then try to detect all pen test activity, not just one occurrence which was detected, but all their activity, all their vectors, everything they made in your infrastructure. That's how you will understand what was detected and what was not detected. We will talk about this on the next slide. And of course, you will understand, will your SOC detect the similar activity, but not from your team, not from the white hat team, but from the black hat team. And this process can be enhanced, and that's where the red blue teaming start with the, of course, purple teaming. So how this process can improve your SOC? You should organize a dedicated red team the attacker team, and the blue team, which is a SOC team. These teams should compete with each other, and the main goal for a red team is to intrude to a system or to bypass some detections. From blue team's side, their main goals are to detect this activity and to enhance their detection rules, their configurations, and so on. And the final step, it's for improving. It's purple team's part. During this process, all red teamers activity is tied with detections, with SOC team's detections. You must figure out what was detected, what was not detected, but you can achieve or find evidence of this activity, like events, syslog records, and so on. What activity was not detected, and what activity is not a subject of your detections. So at the end, you know where to improve, where to make new configurations, set up new appliances like IPS, IDS, like endpoint security, where to improve your policies, auditing, and so on. The next step is training. Training stuff is also very important, and there are a few ways you can do this. Of course, the best way is combining these ways. The first one is know your infrastructure. So the SOC team are those who must deeply understand how your infrastructure built, what security solutions you have, what configurations you have, what servers, and so on, where it is located on land or in the cloud. So they must understand and know all about your infrastructure. The second step is lab training. Those are available across the internet. So your team must run some trainings where they can, in simulated environment, try to hack some servers or try to find evidence of such hacks in given logs. Next, you can imitate a breach. How this happens in real situations. CISO comes to SOC team and says, our infrastructure was breached. Find me evidence how it was happened. And the team starts to investigate. They're trying to find some evidence of hack or evidence of that there was no breach, that infrastructure is secure at the moment. This gives your SOC team a practical knowledge on how to find evidence, what logs are generated by some of your systems, and so on. Next is report reading. A lot of security vendors like Microsoft, FireEye, and others, they produce a lot of reports where they analyze a lot of criminal groups, threat actors, some vulnerabilities, and so on. Reading these reports gives your team a deep knowledge from, I would say, giants in cybersecurity. And they can gain pretty fresh knowledge and very deep knowledge. And the final step for training is to put your team member in an opposite side. What does it mean? It means put your blue teamer in a red team for a week and a red teamer to the blue team. It's very simple step, but it gives a lot of improvements for both of your sides. like blue teamers start to understand how to hack systems, so they can think like a hacker and how to prevent this activity. And red teamers also start to think how their activity is viewed by SOC, how they're seen in infrastructure, so they start to think how to penetrate systems in more complicated ways. Okay, moving on. The next improvements is street hunting. What is street hunting? It's a very interesting process where you trying to find evidence of breaching your infrastructure in the past with available data, with available security logs, events, and so on. How is it made? The first, you set a hypothesis, like infrastructure was breached through web server or another DMZ server. Next, you analyze what logs you need to understand whether this is true or false. Then you start to analyze those data. You must deeply understand what are you doing, what are you analyzing, and in the end, you receive steps you take to investigate whether the breach was real or it was false positive. And the final step, you receive a list of repeatable steps that also can be automated, so they can be transformed to detection rules. So the threat hunting is like a generator for new use cases, for new detection rules. The next great step is to use threat intelligence feeds. There are a lot of TI providers at the moment. All major cybersecurity players provide their TI feeds, but there are also a lot of local TI providers, like for a local market or for your company's industry, that are more targeted for your organization. But the best way is to use them all, but use them wisely, because reacting for all YOG detections in your infrastructure is very hard. So you must, let's say, deeply understand where to use them. Like reacting for communications from the internet to your infrastructure that was blocked by your firewall, and this communication was from C2 server of one of cyber criminals, is not a very good way. Because you will receive thousands of such communications. But when you have outgoing communication from your infrastructure to one of the servers, is certainly an incident. Okay, the next major step is automation. What is it for? Automation saves your organization and your team a lot of money. So you should certainly automate boring stuff. Under boring stuff, I mean those tasks that your team doesn't like to do. So the best way is to automate this, or ask your team to automate it. They will gain a new experience and be glad to automate such a boring thing. Then automate regular stuff. Why you should do this? Because scripts are more like they can be executed on a time manner in a particular time, but humans don't like to do this. So regular stuff should be automated. It can be report generation and so on. The next automation point is time-consuming stuff. Like if you have a report that made by one of your team members, and it takes him about an hour or so, it should be certainly automated, because you will save, in the best case, 1 hour per month or per week or per day. It depends of when you need this report. And of course, you should automate reactions to critical incidents. Why is it important? Because as we saw earlier on a text timeline, if those detections were automated and remediation for those attacks were automated, the remediation would take just 1 second. So such things like initial access or critical stuff, if it is automated, attackers just don't have time to do some impact to your organization. They don't have time to gather information, to move to another server or do something. So automation of critical incidents is always a must. The next step is, of course, governance and incident review. So time to time, you have to review all detections, all incidents, or team responses to those incidents, to understand, are they doing this correctly, what can be improved, what can be automated, or what incidents can be just deleted because they are old. Of course, you have to make a great documentation of those processes, detections, and so on, because documentation is a knowledge of your team. Imagine if you have to onboard a new team member and you only have 1 week. In a typical situation, it will take you a week, but if you have a great documentation, you can just give this documentation to a new person and he will cover 80% of knowledge, and you will only have to deliver him remaining 20%, and of course an experience. Okay, moving on. The next step is audit. When you have a great SOC, when you build it, you should hire external organization. It should be not the same organization that built your SOC. And during this audit, you should understand and write to a new doc. What is the purpose of your SOC? What is it doing? What's your staff doing? Are they doing this correctly? So everything have to be like reviewed, audited, and analyzed by external company. And at the end, you will understand, is your SOC doing it correctly? Is your SOC moving to the right direction? Is your SOC securing your organization in the correct way? Are they understand what are the critical assets, what are the critical business values, and so on. So you will understand whether your SOC understands what your organization doing and what is security for your organization. And that's all for today. I think you can write down some questions if you have. So I would like to thank for all our team and return mic to organizers. Thank you.
Thank you, Konstantin, very much. Thank you so much, colleagues, for attending our webinar today. I hope it was really useful for you and if you found a lot of answers on your question regarding SOC. And as I told previously, we will send you, I think till the end of this week, maybe in the beginning of the next week, we will send you the recording of this webinar and also all presentation materials which you seen today, which you saw today. And I would like to remind you that on our website you can find our schedule of upcoming webinars, which all we have, and the recording of already past webinars. So please come and look through. Thank you very much for your attention and have a great day. Bye-bye.